Look at those skills right there. That ain't so bad. It's starting to look like a table.
I know it's been a while since I've actually done a long form video, but I have a good one for you. Motorcycle's behind me on top of my lift table. Now, I was going to buy a motorcycle lift, but I am not a fan of one-trick ponies. So, instead of just buying a lift to be just a motorcycle lift, I decided to make a fab table that can also hold a motorcycle. So, in this video, I'm going to show you how I built mine, and I'm going to show you how simple it is if you want to make one yourself. The idea is, and the idea with this channel is always, that I want to make welding as popular as carpentry in the household. So all the tools that I'm using are stuff that I can use in my shop. Everything that I have is 110 volt plug-in, and I am confident that the majority of people who have the ambition and drive to do this can. So I'm going to show you my process. Please enjoy the video. I also want to say sorry for the audio quality. I'm testing out some new microphones and new camera setups and whatnot, so I'm kind of playing with settings and everything. So audio quality is not quite the best, but it will get better.
Already got pipe that's cut. Pipe's going to be the base. The reason why I'm using pipe is, well, it's free. I have a bunch of it. So this is 1-inch schedule 80. Typically I would use square tubing or angle iron, but since I have this and it's free to me, that's what I'm going to do. So this is my pipe notcher. This thing will be able to notch the pipe out in the radius. That way I have this 1-inch pipe here, like that, and I'll be able to fit it in the pipe, make a good weld there.
Beautiful.
Because this is pretty thick material, I am going to cut or grind a little bit of a bevel, in here to get some better penetration. I'll start off with 6011 because 6011 has better penetration power. See how much. Oh, I am not close. There. So I got to level this up first in order to match this side. Always check your reference point, make sure it's sitting in the right spot. Now, what I can do is with this ratchet strap here, one, this will hold it up so it makes it easier for me to fit since I am only one person. And there is not a second person down here at 3 o'clock in the morning with me. But also, it'll allow me to put semi-even pressure onto this piece so I get a nice fit up.
Pull it tight.
I need a good spot to ground it. This looks like a good spot. I am going to make sure this thing is square. Now the best way to make sure this thing's square is to do corner to corner measurements. As long as the corner to corner measurements add up to be the same, then we're good. Let's see what we got. 79.5. Oh, there we go. Okay. So I got 80 and a quarter, 80 and 3/8, exactly 35.5 there. Exactly 35.5 there. Just under 6 feet, 13/16. This is 3/4. All right, I'm pretty satisfied with that. That seems pretty good. Get a couple tacks in it, and then I should be able to, with the remainder of my time today, start welding these up. I decided to use my favorite rod combo for the majority of the welds on the project. First pass is done with 60-10, and then I'll cover it with 70-18. Now I feel this combo gets the best of both worlds. 60-10 supplies me with the penetration power I need, and 70-18 provides a little extra yield strength and metal fatigue resistance I'm looking for. This should sit flat. So that's the base. This is the table. And then that's going to lift straight up. For the top part of the bench frame, I'm trying to use up more of my Schedule 80 pipe. So for added strength, I am putting a cross piece every 12 inches to keep the table from bowing, just in case I have a little heavy load on the table. Even though I should not be putting more than maybe 1,000 pounds on it, I like to overbuild things just in case. If you're able to do this project yourself, I would recommend using 1.5" 3/16 wall square tubing. I plan to make drawings and instructions up on how to build a table similar with easily accessible building materials. That way, if you wanted to build a table like this for yourself, you can. It is important when fabricating to position your welds in a way that makes them the easiest and most comfortable for you. That way you can get yourself in better position to be able to see what you are doing and be more comfortable, which in turn allows you to make better quality welds. So now that I got the bases all welded out, I do need to add a little bit more support, but that is the basics of what I'm going to use. Now I want to add for the bottle jack that I'm going to use. Now you could go to Harbor Freight or Home Depot or whatever and grab a long arm jack that is just a hydraulic pump. I didn't want to do that. It is the cheapest way to go, but I wanted something a little bit easier. So I went to good old Harbor Freight, oh boy, and grabbed this. This is a long arm air over hydraulic bottle jack. So, oh, that's heavy. Now I still have the option for the manual pump just in case, but the air over hydraulic allows me to plug it into my air compressor and then jack it up just by pushing this switch. Makes it a little easier. Yes, it is about double the price, but it is worth it. I'm going to slide these in here so I don't have to worry about sliding them in too much later. Look at that notching. Look at those skills right there. So if I did this right, this will sit right here. Oh, look at that. It's almost like I know what I'm doing. I notched the uprights like that for two main reasons. One, I wanted to bring the legs as low as possible so this table's resting height is low enough for me to get a motorcycle up on it with ramps safely. But also, it adds more surface area for my welds so they are a little stronger. I do recommend using square tubing instead of pipe like I am doing just because it's easier to work with and has even more surface area for stronger welds. I'm just trying to use it what I already have. So now I got the legs on, and they do look pretty good. So I want to add a little bit of extra support. So I've got bars that I got cut for the top part of the legs here, just to give it a little bit of an extra brace. I'll put it right there. That ain't so bad. I'll do 3/4 of an inch. These bars will keep the legs from moving around with a load on them. Last thing I want is a bike on the table and the legs bending and folding down like a lawn chair. Good. It's starting to look like a table. I attached the top of the table to my legs. The legs are extendable. The range of height is going to be from 24 to 47 inches. I use 2" by 1/4" inch square tubing for the legs that fit into the 2 1/4 by 3/16 inch square tubing. Oh, there's the table. There's a skeleton of it at least. So I need to cut my sheet and lay the sheet down. I'm gonna put a base plate in so I can put my hydraulic ram in there. Is this in the right spot? Oh hell yeah it is. And then I can put a lug right here and we should be in good shape. Be good. I cut a base plate out of 1/2 inch steel to help distribute the force on the jack. I also created these lugs with some of the same 1/2 inch plate to bolt the shaft onto. This jack was placed right dead center of the table to pick everything up evenly. I do anticipate some flex in the frame, but I know when I put the top of the table on, that'll help keep everything more rigid. Now you can see in front of me that the frame that I had has a piece of metal on top. This is going to be the top of the table. Now I got to stitch weld this thing onto the table. When I say stitch weld, I say I'm going to put like 1 or 2 inch welds every probably foot or so instead of welding it all the way out. Because if I weld it all the way out, then I have a chance of warping the living hell out of this thing. So I'm going to center this piece up as best as I can by eyeball, and I'm going to clamp this thing along the way and do some tacks. Now when I tack up sheet metal like this, instead of just starting in one corner and going all the way around, I'm going to alternate. I'm going to start at one corner, do a tack here, do a tack here, do a tack there, do a tack there, do a tack there, and so on. That's in order to keep the distortion at a minimum. And if there is any distortion, I'm going to move all the expansion that I'll get down the line. That way I don't get bows in the middle. I have some 5/64 6013 that I'm using to stitch this down. This is 12 gauge steel, so it's 0.108 inches thick. So it's not very hefty. So 5/64 6013 at 40-50 amps or so should be enough. And instead of using the machines behind me, if you haven't seen my video, I did a quick review on a $35 Amazon welder. And overall, it was not terrible. I'm not going to say it was stellar, but it wasn't bad. It works, it does the job. It lies to you, but it does work. So I'm going to put this thing on here, and we're going to use it. After playing with the amperage settings, I discovered that the amperage display doesn't necessarily lie 100% of the time. It seems like once you go over 80 amps, it doesn't go any hotter, even though it says it does. So at the maximum 120 amps, what it says, it's still only giving you probably about 80. Still, more than enough for most lighter applications, but overall, the correct size rod for the job at hand, this little welder did pretty well. I ended up setting it at 55 amps for all the 6013 stitch weld. This just proves that even though getting into welding can be expensive, it doesn't have to be. Just like carpentry, there are $600 circular saws for professional carpenters that offer some benefits for industrial use, but that average home hobbyist or do-it-yourself specialist can use an $80 saw and get the job done just as well. So don't be afraid to get started. This channel is all about learning to weld at home. Let me know in the comments if anyone wants to see a video on something like a beginner's guide to welding tools or something like that. This little $40 welder right here went from start to finish all the way across without any real hiccups. Now, stick welding machines are very simple, but that is why I always say this is the easiest process to get into, not because of it being easy to learn. It's not. It's actually fairly difficult. But the fact that is even simple machines can do these jobs really well. All a stick welder is a transformer, or in our case, a little inverter. Unless you really can't afford a $40 welder and a small can of rods that cost $10 at Home Depot, you can get into welding. Now, if you can't already tell, I've already put this table to good use. Got my motorcycle up, pulling the rear tire off, looking at the exhaust and thinking about doing it. But I gotta take one step at a time. Now, I did add a couple things to the table. I did add a hitch receiver, a 2-inch hitch receiver right here to hold my vise. Got another 2-inch hitch receiver on the front end, and I put an AC powered winch in order to winch things up on the bench instead of trying to drive them up and go through the wall. And of course, I've already added a front wheel chalk in order to hold a motorcycle. And then I decided to put a 700-pound bagger on top of the table to put it to the real test. And I have to say, I'm actually surprised at how well this goes. It's 3 o'clock in the morning, so I'm not going to use the air over hydraulic system and wake everybody up. But I can show you that manually, if I pump this thing up, this thing goes up nice and smooth. It would just take me forever.
But I have holes drilled every about 4 inches or so. So every 4 inches, I can put a pin in to hold it in place.
So I wanted to thank you very much for watching this. Make sure you subscribe to the channel because I'm planning a project that I think you guys will not be expecting. Yeah, that's all I got. Stay tuned for more. I got to get this rear tire off because it is very, very worn out.